watching Fox 10 Talks. I'm Trenton Hooker, Ashlie Rodriguez, and Andrew Kraft, Fox LiveNOW, joining us. So, Andrew, whirlwind last 12 hours, right?
Yeah.
Just a few minutes ago. Really, I mean, you were on the air for quite some time last night, just back to back to back as really things were developing. But it was 24 hours ago, right, that we were first a little bit starting to get news that something was going on in New York, that there was streets that were closed off in Midtown.
Yeah, and just for people who, aren't familiar with New York City, I mean, this was in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. This was Park and Lex, Waldorf Astoria is right there, St. Bartholomew's is right there, and then, of course, the Blackstone building where this occurred last night. But yeah, it was about 24 hours. We started getting the first live images from the scene, and we had heard initially that a police officer was shot. That was kind of the first reports to trickle in. We relied a lot on Fox 5 New York, and then we finally learned that the number of people shot went up. One of those fatalities was an off-duty NYPD officer who was just contracting a freelance security gig in the lobby of this building. Major commercial high-rise there in Midtown Manhattan.
I mean, blocks from Times Square.
Oh, yeah.
All the foot traffic. It broke out after 6, which is rush hour. That's everybody walking around, trying to get to the trains.
And it was just so chaotic. So many law enforcement vehicles, emergency management vehicles, didn't get a police press conference until like 10:30 Eastern. So we finally got some details, finally got some information. I mean, Jessica Tisch, the NYPD commissioner, really laid out a timeline of this guy from Vegas. He drove across the country over a 2-day span to carry this out. More details coming in. We heard from Mayor Adams. He was going to target the NFL headquarters there in New York City, got on a wrong elevator.
And as we're covering this, the thing that stood out to me, first of all, 27-year-old Shane Tamara. What stood out to me is how well dressed he was. So he pulls up in this luxury vehicle. He's
BMW.
Black BMW.
Seemed like he knew where he was going.
Double parked.
Right.
Gets out, and it's just that still shot of him with this huge gun. And I was just talking to one of our managers who's also from New York. And New York is such a crazy place that I wonder if it registered. That's a real gun, and he's walking into a building. Because you see so many crazy things.
There he is right there.
There's a chance that a well-dressed guy with a gun like that doesn't even make you stop and think.
Yeah. But I mean, look at the people walking on the sidewalk. I mean, in post 9/11 New York, the mantra has been, if you see something, say something. And like this guy so cavalierly walks into one of the most major high-rise office buildings in Midtown with that weapon in his hand, that M4 rifle, in a blazer, in sunglasses. He double parks. You don't do that in New York City. You don't just leave your car in the street and get out. And then he carries out this rampage. It's just stunning. And I've lived in New York. You've lived in New York. We've reported there. And just for something like this to happen so brazenly in the heart of Midtown is just really still 24 hours later so stunning. And we're learning a lot more about the guy itself.
Yeah, I was going to say, Trenton, you were telling me that they found a note in his wallet.
Yeah, so he apparently left quite a detailed suicide note, right? Deliberately saying that he was targeting this NFL building. Also brought up his previous football career. I know that he had played in a Canadian league. In high school, he was a star athlete. I did see that our Fox LA partner had talked to his former coach in the meantime, who really just remembered him as this all-star athlete, but very quiet kid. Obviously shocked at the tragedy of what unfolded, but that was not the young man he knew. But in that detailed, letter that he laid out, blaming apparently CTE,
which can't be diagnosed, really. I mean, they would have to you'd have to go and say, I have these symptoms.
Can only be diagnosed by autopsy. And really that factored into it, saying, why he was shooting himself in the chest to commit suicide so that they could study his brain to look at it. But obviously quite twisted.
You don't need to kill people to kill yourself so somebody can look at your brain.
Right.
Yeah.
It's, as they said in the press conference yesterday, an act of pure evil.
Totally. And that's the whole kind of crux of this is like he felt so compelled. And we learned yesterday that the NYPD were in touch with Las Vegas law enforcement. They were aware of the guy. They knew who he was. I was looking over some court records. He'd been in trouble once before for criminal trespass, misdemeanor. It was dropped.
2 mental health episodes.
Yeah, but they knew him. They knew he had documented mental health history. And you just kind of have to get in the psyche of someone like this. What would lead him to do this?
Mhm.
Does he think his CTE, or is his CTE or alleged CTE a product of his mental illness? Who knows?
Well, my
Right.
issue is if he had 2 mental health issues, how is he getting a concealed carry license and getting weapons?
Yeah.
And I think he said to them, I had suicidal ideation, and they still allowed him to have guns. I think that should be something where you take pause and say, maybe we shouldn't be giving guns to this individual.
Definitely
So
some red flags there.
they're looking after the weapons supplier as well.
Yeah, we still don't know the provenance of the weapon, how he got it, how he obtained it. Was it his? But that's a very valid point. And Nevada has looser laws, obviously, than New York State about prohibitions on obtaining a weapon with documented mental health histories. So maybe it was easier. We'll just have to figure that out. We don't know.
I know in Nevada, at least, that they are a little stricter with their handgun concealed carry license and the reciprocity they have, certainly with more restrictive states. So it will be really interesting to see how that plays out and how those red flags may have been ignored, weren't. But, I think for me, just watching it minute by minute develop, and certainly in a newsroom, it's a lot different than public at home watching this on TV unfold. But seeing the alerts go out, first saying that there's an active shooter in Midtown Manhattan, I mean, really, that felt pretty unprecedented. I know that obviously there is crime in New York City, how it plays out, but at least to this magnitude and how it played out with the police presence being so quick to act. I mean, NYPD trains for this really every day, but I've heard their response, at least getting to the scene, locking down that part of Midtown Manhattan that was by the book and
It was fast.
went pretty quick.
Very fast, yeah. And
it was impressive.
you've covered crime in New York. You know what happens, and you know the response from police. I mean, they get there on the scene so quickly.
Mhm.
I'm always impressed by NYPD.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, the commissioner and the force over the 4th of July holiday, they were touting that some of these crime statistics they got for the first half of 2025, I mean, they were down, historic lows with crime. And then something like this happens, you have to wonder, was this a one-off, or is this, indicative of some type of pattern going forward? We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, there's going to be some vigils tonight. There's one tonight in Bryant Park. So we'll be airing that on LiveNOW, and a lot of kind of the New York Politico bigwigs, they're going to be there. And it's just, it's so sad.
We'll be watching. Well, let's move on to the other big bombshell, going across the country. Jeffrey Epstein Files and how that firestorm's taking off, really.
So I don't know if you saw within the last couple of hours, Trump was answering reporter questions, and they asked him about where their relationship went wrong. And he said that Epstein kept pulling women from the spa, like in the sense of like taking them to work for him.
Wow.
And Trump warned him about it the first time, like, stop taking my employees. He did it again, and that's when Trump was like, you're out of here. Persona non grata.
Yeah.
But again,
I think
wasn't that a red flag, Mr. President, that he's taking young? Because they asked him, were these women young? And he goes, yes, they were.
I know we're getting so many details about what the relationship, or whatever you want to call it, the interactions between Trump and Epstein were over the course of 25 years. Just in like the last 2 weeks, it's kind of fascinating. Periodically they kept in touch. To your point, this spa worker at Mar-a-Lago, her name, I think to people who follow the Epstein saga know her name very well, Virginia Giuffre, was groomed and trafficked at Mar-a-Lago by Epstein and Maxwell. So for him to be that forthcoming about this is really, really interesting.
I wouldn't call it fascinating. I would call it infuriating, because I believe this is a scandal of his own making. He keeps dancing around what the information that people want.
Yeah.
And if he were just to come out and say what the deal is, this would all be put to bed.
Yeah.
Especially when he was talking about, well, no one's asked me if I'm going to pardon her. Just say you're not going to pardon her. Like, you know what I mean? You're creating more suspense, more confusion, more questions.
And we're talking about
Ambiguity,
Ghislaine Maxwell right now.
Yes.
Yes, and these self-described, in a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, but obviously the DOJ has classified her as a sex trafficker, the procurer of Jeffrey Epstein's women in this case.
Girls.
Yes, and asking Trump for that. I thought it was very interesting, at least today, that she wanted a little more time to speak before Congress. And if she didn't get that, at least Fox News, I know they were reporting, they had heard on the Hill that she was going to plead the Fifth if she was called early.
She doesn't just want time, she wants immunity to plead before
And she wants the questions
Congress.
beforehand, too.
Yeah, and she was granted limited immunity in her conversations with Todd Blanche, the deputy AG. Speaking of Capitol Hill, though, you have, the likes of Dick Durbin, Democrat from Illinois. He is on the Senate Judiciary Committee. I mean, he wants those transcripts between Blanche and Maxwell. I'd like to see them. We know there's this fight in 2 separate jurisdictions now about the grand jury material with the Epstein case, with the Maxwell conviction that's being fought for by the DOJ. So there's still a lot more to come out. I keep asking the question on my show with my guests is, what is there? What is there to come out? Everyone's saying there's so many files, there's so many grand jury transcripts, but the people demanding the release of those, do they even know what those are? What's there? Is there there?
I think
we always
people
say
want
that.
the perp walk. They want these powerful people who've done this to these girls to be held accountable and to face the justice system.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Yeah. And that point is so crucial because...
And that's probably not what they're going to get.
But these people who have followed this, who've made, who've staked their reputations on getting to the bottom of the Epstein stuff.
Even current Trump administration officials.
Dan Bongino, for sure. Yeah. They cannot abide by the fact that currently there's only 2 people that have been held responsible for Epstein and his crimes. Epstein, he's dead. And Maxwell, she's in prison for 20 years. So they cannot be satisfied that only 2 people in this entire orbit.
Well, are you saying the abusers shouldn't be held accountable?
Well, no, I'm saying they want to know who they are.
Exactly.
Right. But my point is, like, they can't be satisfied with just 2 people in this entire web.
Yes.
Right.
They think there has to be more. That's their point.
The president to come out and say, "Oh, now this is a hoax." It's just, again, why didn't you say that during the campaign? Because during the campaign, this was a real thing that you were going to bring these people to justice. You were going to drain the swamp.
Promise.
You were going to, fight the deep state.
Yeah.
Now it looks like you're a part of the deep state and you're gaslighting us.
And I will say, he wants to be talking about other things.
Definitely.
He wants to be talking about the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah.
He wants to be talking about
EU
these trade deals.
Right.
He does not want to be talking about this. He's like, we got all this stuff going on. They just brokered a ceasefire between Cambodia and Thailand. He's like, let's focus on that. Everything else is a distraction. That's what he's saying. But to your point, he does kind of keep making it worse for himself.
Yeah, it's like, I want to see this Wall Street Journal letter as well, where wonderful secrets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to have to leave it there for right now, but Andrew, appreciate you coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
All
Thanks.
right. Hey, you're watching Fox 10 Talks. We're obviously talking the Epstein Files right now, but during the break, I mean, we were getting into it a little bit more. Andrew had to leave us, sadly, but so much here.
Everything about this is just so frustrating. And when you mentioned this missing minute, I mean, the whole he killed himself is also very frustrating to the public.
Yeah.
We just want transparency on this. And now you have 1 minute that's missing from that jail video.
Yeah. Well, and it is interesting to watch from the sidelines and to see from afar. But we were talking about the Trump administration response and just how many rabbit holes we've gone in this year alone, but also seeing the officials twist themselves into knots and kind of refute previous statements.
10,000 hours of video. It's on my desk.
It's
Never
on my desk,
mind.
ready
It's
to
not
go.
on my
We'll
desk.
go.
I didn't
Right.
mean that.
Right.
Oh, it's all a hoax.
Right.
I mean, it's just.
This happened years ago, and it has nothing to do
I
with me.
don't draw pictures.
Right. Yes, I'm not a doodler. Well, I thought it was interesting because obviously we talked about what Trump was asked when he was on his trip to the UK, but J.D. Vance as well was asked about this and spoke about it during a rally. If we can play that real quick. Yeah, I don't hear it.
Is the audio bad on?
Yeah, I think the audio might be bad on that one. Well, let me skip to the point. Vice President Vance here actually turned it back on the media and said, where were you? Why weren't you doing your job for 20 years? We're going to be transparent in this. But this goes all the way back to the Obama administration and goes back to the George W. Bush administration when Epstein, had that plea agreement that he made in 2007.
A couple things on that. First of all, the media didn't campaign for President of the United States to go after this case.
Yeah.
So you guys took this on yourself that you were going to bring justice to these victims.
Drain the swamp.
And now it's the media's fault that we didn't do our part. No, this is your problem. You didn't have to campaign on this at all. But then when you talk about the media, it would take an investigative, self-funded journalist to do this. And even then, would they be able to live? Would they not? Would they be killed? But I mean, how far could they go? He got off in 2007 when somebody brought assault charges against him. That's the justice system. Talk about that. I mean, media can cover that, but at some point, you have to move on. And that's why we, I think as a country, we're counting on this administration to follow through on their promise to get to the bottom of this, because this is so far beyond.
Yeah. Well, and today I was amazed. CBS News released new information that the missing minute that you just saw there, if we can go back to that video, playing the CCTV footage right outside his Manhattan cell.
11:58 to 12.
You see a jump right there. The Trump administration reassured us, Pam Bondi, that there is no missing minute.
I can hear her words in my head saying, it's an old system.
It does not exist. They have to reset the tape every night as it goes to midnight. But apparently, sources in the Trump administration have told CBS News that missing minute isn't missing, that it's there.
That's an amazing get.
Don't know what it shows.
Is Vance happy with the media now?
Right, exactly. That, and just to go back to that point too, my thought was the anger that might be directed at the media saying that we're not doing our job, but self-admittingly, from Kash Patel, FBI director, Dan Bongino, deputy FBI director, they made the points before they were in the administration saying that all the info that we need to know about this case, all of it is locked up in the DOJ. Once you get us in there, elect us to get in, because when we do get in, we're going to be able to release that. So self-admittingly, there's no info for the media to find in that. It's not us doing our jobs to go and get that. All of that is classified information that isn't released to the public for certain reasons. It has a lot of salacious info in there, private details, transgressions of alleged sexual assault in there.
And they got big money.
Yeah.
They could go after whoever they wanted and sue for defamation.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing is it's not like we just didn't do our job and we had it. So thought that was very interesting. But to go through the charade, I mean, my mind goes back to right after the first few weeks of the Trump administration, right after the inauguration, there was this big, let's have social media influencers, especially those that supported President Trump's campaign, to come in with the binder to show that we've got the files. It was supposed to be this big triumphant moment saying most transparent administration in history. but there was nothing in the binders.
Trenton, if you and I are good friends for years and years and years, and there's some bad stuff going on, why would I then turn around and campaign on revealing that bad stuff? To be a fly on the wall in his office, to figure out if he
That
really,
strategy.
truly believed he was not in the files and why he would think such a thing if he's writing birthday notes to the guy and he's on video with the guy. I don't get it. I don't get it.
It is amazing. I mean,
why would you campaign on what's going to get you in trouble, and then
Yeah.
when it comes to the light, try to say it's not a big deal?
Right. I mean, they call him the Teflon Don because nothing sticks, and I wonder if that mentality going into it, they're not going to get me on
That's
this.
arrogance. And it's biting him because I would say that he's taken a hit by a bipartisan hit. I mean,
Bipartisan
Democrats
for
already
sure.
didn't like him,
Yeah.
but I think MAGA just like woke up like, oh, he's a part of the swamp that he promised to drain.
Right. Well, I did think it was interesting, too, the reaction on Capitol Hill, Speaker Mike Johnson sending Congress home early for this, saying, we're not going to talk about the Epstein Files. Summer is we're in recess until we're coming back. But we know that when they come back in a few weeks, everybody's going to be still talking about this.
Yeah, and it was almost kind of coincidental that they went on break right before that, right?
Very much so.
Yeah.
That's when
we
it
all
seems
looked
like,
at that move as like, all right, Johnson's trying to help out his boy.
Yeah. Well, it's not going away anytime soon, that's for sure. And it is interesting just to see how much anger there is for this. But at the same time, what's really inside of those files that we don't know? What's in that missing minute clip?
I genuinely believe that there's some powerful people that were caught abusing kids and we're never going to know because there's just too much. I mean, I hope we do, but they have a lot of protection. They have a lot of ways to stay protected, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Well, let's switch gears real quick. We're going to be joined by Fox News' Sarah Allegre. She is talking about the heat, something we know very well here.
It's hot today.
It's awful. Yeah. 100 and what? 12 yesterday?
Yeah.
It was brutal. I did think it was quite the slam yesterday. I don't know if you saw this, but the National Weather Service in San Francisco retweeted The Office for Phoenix and just said, was laughing basically at us for their high of, I believe it was 66.
Oh my goodness.
And ours of 112. Quite the slam.
Where is Sarah?
Yeah.
What part of town? What part of the country?
Hey, Sarah.
Charleston. Hi.
Can you hear us okay?
Hey guys. Yes, I can hear you okay. Yeah, I'm in Charleston right now, and so different from Arizona. You guys are dealing with the dry heat. Different story for us though. It's the humidity that's really packing a punch because I can look at the temperature right now. It'll say around 90 degrees. Yeah, that's not too bad, especially from your perspective. Nothing at all.
Sounding pretty
That's
nice
a cool
right now.
winter day for yeah, that's some nice relief. But it's the feels like temperatures. I mean, that's the cause for concern here. When you kind of pile in the heat and the humidity, the air you can wear is kind of what I like to say. It's like walking into this wall of steam that just hits you, but it's here to stay. It's not really going anywhere. And that's what the folks here are dealing with. I can attest. I've been walking around Charleston all day, talking to people, just feeling it in for myself. And I looked like a wet dog, just to say I can't put it in any other form, truly. It is hot here. I'm from Southern California, so I'm used to the drier heat. Coming from Houston a couple of days ago, it's soupy there as well. But I will say, walking in Charleston last night and just spending the day here, it's a different story for sure.
Well, Sarah, I can say that your hair looks great for it being so humid out there. I'm jealous. I was in New York this past weekend, and it was hot to them. It was like 100 degrees with humidity.
Right.
And I realized the big difference is, because I didn't think it was hot, but I was sweating.
Sure.
So I needed to like wash my clothes. I wanted to take a shower. Out here, I don't know about you, but you don't really sweat like that. It just evaporates off your skin and you bake alive.
You do bake alive. The sun is horrendous. The nice thing is, though, you get a little bit of shade, especially after about 6 o'clock in Phoenix. Wonderful.
So,
Wonderful
Sarah,
sunsets.
how are residents out there reacting? How are they beating the heat? Are they just staying inside?
Well, I want to go back back to what you said a little bit earlier, yeah, the sweat evaporates right off you when you're in a place like Phoenix, Arizona, and that's definitely going to help. Whereas here, it just kind of sticks with you. So I talked to a lot of people. You know, there are the people who have those bike taxis, taking tourists around, showing them the historic Charleston area. And then you also have those horse-drawn carriages as well. I talked to those people, hey, how are you getting through days like today? One person said iced coffee. That's a go-to. I'm going to stick to the sweet tea since I'm in the South. But also for the horses, the water hose. They say it works for humans too. They get in on the action as well. That's going to cool down. You want to bring your body temperature down the best way that you can. And I will say, stepping into the shade too, yeah, even when the sun's not shining down on you, it does help a little bit. And I will say, those...
Oh, do we lose Sarah?
I think we lost Sarah. Sarah, you got us? Sorry about that.
Hi, yeah, I've got you. No, it's okay. I was just talking about the summer storms that roll through in the South, and I know you guys have that monsoonal moisture that offers you guys some relief during this time of year. A bit of a similar story here. When you have those afternoon thunderstorms, that really helps at least take the bite of the heat off you. You're going to feel those temperatures cool down just a little bit. So I'm melting already, and my makeup's dripping off my face for all of you who wear makeup because of the heat. But when the rain kicks in as well, I'm losing the makeup no matter what. So I say, if you're in a place like Charleston, just stick to the natural beauty on a day like today. Just my
sound advice.
Yes,
sure.
And I miss the humidity because it's so much better for your hair and skin.
Oh, absolutely.
Out here, you
don't
just
look like
turn
a
into a
mummy.
lizard. Yeah.
Yep. Sarah, thanks for chatting with us. Really appreciate it.
Stay cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worry about the heat in Phoenix, though, because, you know, with our expansion, the valley, and all these roads and buildings and concrete trapping the heat.
The heat island.
So the heat island effect is very real because where back in the day when there was less people out here and it wasn't as congested and it wasn't as built up, the lows would go down.
Oh, absolutely.
And
anybody who's lives in Phoenix, you know, before 1995, they'll tell you, oh, back 15 years ago, back 20 years ago, it was nothing like this, you know.
So now the lows are not low, and then it gets hotter the next day, and then hotter the next day.
You even covered not too long ago about the cactuses taking a hit. I thought that was fascinating.
Because they have to solidify. So they solidify at night, and then it can get hot, and they get jealous or jelly, and then they solidify. But now they can't solidify because it's just so hot at night because the concrete traps the heat. I wonder what Phoenix is going to feel like in 20 years with all this growth.
It's going to be hot.
It's
going to be hot. Well, thanks for hanging with us this afternoon. It's been fun. So
too bad we didn't get to the bottom of Epstein. Hopefully tomorrow. We'll
tomorrow.
Get that client
it's
list.
a new day. Yeah. Maybe we'll get that